Good evening. It is 6 p.m. on Monday, October 10th, 2022. I'm Kathy Sizemore, and I am the chairperson for the Community Services Commission, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Right, to start our meeting, we will begin with our flag salute. Would you please rise and join Commissioner Hawks in leading the Pledge of Allegiance?
Put your hand over your heart. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And let's begin our meeting with our roll call. Would the Commission Secretary Tracy Courts please conduct our attendance?
Okay, Commissioner Hawks,
Here.
Commissioner Kristevsky,
Here.
Vice Chair Audi,
Here.
Chairperson Sizemore.
Here?
Okay, we have 4 present with 1 excused absence for Commissioner Levine.
Thank you, Tracy. Do we have any public comments tonight?
No, we do not.
All right, thank you. Then we will dispense with the reading of the rules. And we're going to move our calendar around a little bit tonight. We're going to go straight to our business section, and we will be receiving a presentation on the Quality of Life Master Plan from Mr. Matt Peters from Planning. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners and fellow staff. Thanks for moving us up on the agenda. I'm Matt Peters with the Planning Department. This is Doug Svensson, our consultant with Applied Development Economics, who helped us update the Quality of Life Master Plan. So our agenda for this presentation is to describe the QLMP update and how it's used by the city. We want to talk a little bit about the public input and the community engagement efforts that went into this process. We'll introduce the draft vision statement, and then Doug is going to go over the overview of the 7 core values of the QLMP and the Citizens 20-year priorities timeline, and then we'll talk about next steps. So what is the QLMP? It's the Quality of Life Master Plan. It's a broad level visionary document. It identifies the city's core values, which make up quality of life in Temecula. It's also used, and this is probably the most important thing, it's used in the city's budgeting process. So projects or programs in the annual operating budget or in the CIP, the Capital Improvement Projects budget, must be justified in terms of how it helps to achieve the goals and objectives in each core value. And our core values consist of a safe and prepared community, transportation, mobility, and connectivity, healthy and livable city, economic prosperity, sustainable and resilient city, accountable and responsive city government, and equity. So the overlap of all of those make up quality of life. This very involved graphic is our general plan update process and timeline. I'm not going to go over this whole thing, but basically we've broken down the general plan update into 4 phases. Phase 1 consisted of the housing element and updating our CEQA guidelines for vehicle miles traveled analysis in environmental documents and update to the public safety element. And then phase 2, the major work task in phase 2 was the Quality of Life Master Plan update. We're near the end of that process. And basically that arrow is pointing to show that the QLMP core values become the general plan elements. So it's going to be the organizing document so that when we update the general plan, we'll put those elements of the general plan and slot them under the core values where appropriate. And then phase 3, some of my dates are a little off there, but we're going to be moving into phase 3 in 2023. I think we'll release an RFP, request for proposals for a consultant for the general plan update next year, and then the plan is to take that to City Council in 2025. We'll see how that timeline shakes out. As far as community engagement, this whole process started with the True North survey. It was a community survey, and it was a statistically valid survey with an overall margin of error of plus or minus 3.2%. And basically, it's the city's report card from the community on facilities and programs, traffic, economic development, and parks and recreation. And we received a very good report card. Resident satisfaction is high, and city government is viewed positively. Some opportunity areas include traffic, residential growth, homelessness, and city resident communication. And then those results were used to inform the Blue Ribbon Committee and the QLMP update process. So when we had each of our meetings, we always summarize what the results were from the community survey to help inform our decision-making at those meetings. The BRC, or the Blue Ribbon Committee, was appointed by the City Council to assist with the update, and it was intentional to be a diverse group of stakeholders representing a variety of interests. The General Plan Update Subcommittee consisted of Mayor Ron and Marianne Edwards, Councilmember Edwards, and we had a representative from each of the commissions and the boards. Chairperson Sizemore was the representative to the Blue Ribbon Committee, but then also Commissioner Krzyzewski and Commissioner Adi were involved in several of the meetings as representatives of Bike Temecula Valley Coalition. And as far as the community representatives go on the BRC, I won't read all of these, but you can see the variety of interests from VTV to the hospital to the school district, Habitat for Humanity, and the Sierra Club. So it was quite a large group of representatives. As far as the meetings and workshops we had, there were 2 city council workshops. There were 10 commission meetings. We went to two meetings in May and November 21 with each of the 4 commissions and 1 board. And then we had 2 additional meetings with the Ready Commission to go over the new core value of equity. There were 7 BRC meetings, and we held 2 virtual workshops online for a total of 19 total meetings and 4 public workshops. In addition, we had 4 pop-up events. Those were Saturdays. We went to the farmers market. We went to the ribbon cutting for the Summers Bend Sports Park opening. We went to the special games at Great Oak High School, and then we went to Culture Fest in Old Town. Usually 2 or 3 hours interaction with the community. We asked residents what they love about Temecula, and then we asked them pretty specific questions and feedback relative to the core values, which we then reported back to the BRC at each of our meetings. In addition to the True North community survey, we did another survey that was specific to the Quality of Life Master Plan. So it was a second survey, and it was used as a supplement to the True North survey. There was a lot of outreach associated with that. This is a summary from our social media department in the city manager's office. These are our statistics. So we had 16 total posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We had 473 likes, 41 comments, 82 shares, and close to 50,000 impressions, which they tell me is fantastic. In addition, as part of our public outreach, we were on Channel 3 before each of the council meetings to advertise the QLMP survey and the process. We're also on the homepage of the city website, and we're on the landing page of the city app. So we're front and center on all of those. We also had a dedicated QLMP webpage. So if you went to the city of Temecula, you did a search QLMP or Quality of Life Master Plan, you went to this dedicated webpage, had the document, the original document, all of the meetings were recorded, and you could watch the videos online. There was the community survey when it was active, and then the results. There was a feedback button, and then you could sign up for email notifications as well. Some of our other outreach included we emailed or hand-delivered flyers to the affordable housing complexes. We do those inspections, and we have contacts there, so we gave them the surveys to hand out to their residents. We went to different nonprofit organizations, sent a lot of emails to those groups, and then we had the survey at the Mary Phillips Senior Center, and at several coffee shops, we put the advertisement for the survey, which had a QR code on there at several of the coffee shops. And then we handed out business cards to all the city council members, so if they got questions about the QLMP, they could hand out a card, and it had the QR code for the survey on that as well. And then paper surveys were always made available upon request. We also did another survey. One of the things we found when we did the QLMP survey was that we missed a demographic, which was the youth and young adult. And we wanted to do a supplement to that to make sure we didn't miss anyone. So we did the survey. We had a roundtable discussion, which Tcsd staff helped us out quite a bit with that, to have that roundtable discussion with the Youth Advisory Committee. My wife works for the school district, so I gave her the survey and I had her hand them out to a lot of the parents in the preschool program. And then we also shared the survey with the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Coordinator at TVUSD, who sent the survey to several students and the student organizations so they could fill out the survey. And then finally, in terms of our outreach with the public and the community, we were also on the Automall sign. So if you didn't see it on any of those other locations, we were on the Automall sign. There's approximately 166,000 cars per day on the 15, and we were on a 30-second loop. So I don't know if any of you saw it, but we were definitely in bright lights on the Automall sign. So that was our public outreach. Before I turn it over to Doug, I'm just going to present the draft vision statement for the Temecula 2040 update. So a lot of the input we received from the BRC talked about or focused on innovation, family, and then home, and this theme of small town character kept coming up. And so we used that, and then we also looked at, you know, the foundations for the vision statement. We looked at the city seal, old traditions, new opportunities, and then these council chambers that we're in, Jeff Comachero council chambers, he was known for saying, you never regret doing things right, or you never regret doing things right the first time. And then there's also this saying, we do things the Temecula way, which I guess means doing it right the first time. So here's the draft vision statement. This has gone through many, many iterations, and this is what's in the update. With a deep understanding of our history, the city of Temecula is a community and culture on the move. We are dedicated to family, neighborhoods, economic prosperity, education, health, and safety. Focused on doing it right the first time, we continue to pursue the highest quality of life for all, something we call the Temecula way. And with that, I'll turn it over to Doug. He's going to talk about the themes that went into the QLMP, and then we're here to answer questions. And I want to stress the fact that we're presenting the draft, but if you have feedback for us, my staff report to the City Council will include a summary of the feedback that I get from all of the commissions, and that'll be presented to them for consideration and inclusion when they adopt the final document. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. I'm Doug Svensson with Applied Development Economics. As Matt indicated, I'd like to just highlight some of the key themes that emerged as especially important in this update of the QLMP. Front and center is safety. This is the #1 attribute of the city that citizens appreciate the most about Temecula from the community survey. And so there's a lot of emphasis on this core value, particularly continuing to be one of the safest cities in California and the nation. And along with that, making sure that funding levels stay at the levels that they need to really support that goal. In addition, there's the addition of community-oriented policing, and there was a lot of discussion around getting neighborhoods involved with the police force, but also other city staff to sort of be actively engaged in all aspects of safety in their neighborhoods. There's also a much greater emphasis on emergency management response, and we're all aware of the potential for disasters, fire, earthquake, flooding, a number of things that we've seen increasing over time. And so the QLMP identifies the need for an emergency response master plan, and there's several elements to that. And also the idea of training citizens as much as possible through a number of different programs that the city has to train citizens for emergency response, either through first aid or through neighborhood programs and other kinds of programs like that. In addition, the fire department has a number of plans to expand their facilities, and those are referenced throughout the plan. The second major emphasis is on the economy, in particular creating local jobs and entrepreneurial environment in Temecula. And out of this emerged a central proposal of developing a more extensive career technical education center in the city, which would integrate curricula through the Temecula Valley Unified School District, Mount San Jacinto College, and CSU San Marcos, so that there's a coordinated path for young people to get into careers that can, where they can get jobs here in Temecula. That's a major part of the focus. Also looking at economic diversification here locally, supporting the retail sector to as much extent possible. There are a lot of changes going on in retail, and so those businesses are under a lot of pressure. Nurturing small businesses, particularly regionally unique commercial uses. A lot of the feedback we got from the public through the surveys that Matt mentioned referenced the small local independent businesses as a major aspect of a small town feel that they like about Temecula. This is reinforced in a number of the other core values, including transportation, mobility, and connectivity, where there's a goal to promote job growth in Temecula and nearby areas to reduce out-commuting as much as possible. And also under equity, to foster a healthy environment and a prosperous opportunities for all residents of Temecula. Youth opportunities. Matt mentioned the fact that we took a few extra steps to try to get input from young people in the community. This was, I think, prominent in the minds of the BRC members in particular. So under Safe and Prepared Community, there are goals to provide recreational and other activities for youth that promote socially productive behavior. Under Healthy and Livable Community, provide accessible sports, recreational, cultural, health, and community engagement facilities and programs and resources. And I know this is a particular focus of the Community Services Commission. In particular, under the objectives to integrate and expand teen facilities and services in the Community Recreation Center. Under economic prosperity, a lot of the CTE focus is directed at young people, and so it's a way to get them in sort of productive career paths. And under equity, there are initiatives to expand the number of young people that can be involved in the Youth in Government program. Resiliency is another major theme, and this, as I mentioned earlier, the whole focus on emergency management response comes back to trying to prevent disasters to as much as possible through building resiliency. And so that's been added to the Sustainable City core value, and a goal to develop community resiliency in infrastructure, the economy, around natural resources, and hazard mitigation. It's reinforced in the Safe and Prepared Community core value by minimizing the impact to life, property, and the environment from natural hazards and emergency situations. Also under transportation, increasing the number of modes of transportation that are available to increase mobility options, and under accountable and responsive city government, maintaining a flexible organization to respond to a variety of today unknown situations that may come up and the city will need to respond. Under the environment, we added a goal for a climate action plan, which will be part of the general plan update that Matt was mentioning. And we've also added an indicator to actually measure air quality. That was a big thing that we heard from people in the community process, both air and water quality. Also added objectives to complete a stormwater management plan, to integrate greenway planning in the general plan so that the stormwater, the trail system, landscaping in general are all integrated to create a good response to major flooding situations, as well as increasing public education on all these topics, energy efficiency, solar, recycling, water conservation, et cetera. Creating an integrated watershed management plan, looking ahead to building out the electric vehicle system. I mentioned already multimodal transportation, and then finally a citywide wildlife protection plan. So again, these are reinforced in the other core values through transportation, increasing trail mileage, both for bicycle and for pedestrian. Under Healthy and Livable City, we've added an indicator to achieve a gold level of bicycle-friendly city designation by adding new trails. And even in economic prosperity, there's a goal to continue to protect the city's special natural resources, because we all recognize the quality of life is very much connected to environmental quality, and that stimulates economic prosperity. The idea of creating regional approaches to some of these issues, particularly traffic and the environment. Temecula is one city in a larger area, particularly when it comes to traffic. You're at a crossroads, but you're subject to traffic coming from a lot of different places. And so the idea of getting a regional transportation task force with the county, San Diego County, the other cities in this area to see what can be done regionally to maybe solve some of those issues. And that approach certainly can apply to a number of the environmental issues that we're looking at, particularly stormwater management and watershed management. Technology. Temecula is a very forward-thinking community. I work all over the state, and really this is a special place in terms of how city government looks at its role and charge. And so there are a lot of objectives here to move the city forward and use technology and innovation wherever it's helpful and beneficial. So expanding the use of paperless technology, installing smart city technology to increase service delivery as well as improve the transportation system, building out the city's fiber optic network, and implementing electric vehicle systems. Housing, major issue that was discussed a lot, not only hearing it from the public, but at the Blue Ribbon Committee. Clearly closely tied to economic prosperity, and so we've added indicators for housing affordability and increasing multifamily housing production. The city has just updated its housing element. That's kind of an advanced section of the general plan that has a lot of programs and policies and that will help with housing production. But it's reinforced in a number of places throughout the QLMP, including Healthy and Livable City, having a variety of housing choices for different types of households, increasing attainable housing, which is basically workforce housing, people who work here, having the ability to afford to live here as well. And then that's also been added to the equity core value. And then finally, the probably largest addition to the document overall is the addition of a seventh core value on equity, and that includes 4 goals for fair and equitable treatment of all human beings, fostering a healthy environment and prosperous opportunities, extensive communication and outreach with the citizens, and dedicating resources to be sure that the city is removing barriers wherever possible. We met, as Matt mentioned, with the Ready Commission on 2 different occasions to work out the details of how that core value would be presented and the indicators that are used there. And future strategic objectives include completing implementation of the READY initiative that the council has adopted, creating a READY dashboard of indicators as part of the city's website. And by the way, the QLMP itself will be in dashboard form on the website once it's adopted by the council. So that'll be the next stage, and it'll make it a lot easier for citizens to access the information and monitor how the city's doing on all the indicators that are included there. So the update also updated the projects that the city wants to try to accomplish over the next 20 years. I know it's a little harder to read this version of it. It looks great in the report, though. So I created another summary that's a little easier for everybody to read in case you wanted to look at it in detail. It's divided into broad time frames for during the 18 to 20 years, and these are time frames when we hope to actually complete these different items. So, and there's a variety of things here, everything from community policing to a number of transportation improvements to the Career Technical Education Center that I mentioned earlier, also the Margarita Recreation Center with intergenerational programming. These are a number of the shorter term projects that we hope to accomplish in the next 3 years or so. Then over a longer time frame, some of the, hopefully complete the general plan, things like the Stormwater Master Plan, implement the smart city technology, as well as some of the other emergency management master plan and climate action plan that will take a little longer to develop. And then finally, in the longer time frame, includes some of the bigger recreation and cultural projects like a new tennis complex, performing arts center, aquatics facility with an Olympic pool, as well as some of the bigger transportation improvements that probably will take longer to develop. So with that, after our meeting with you this evening, we'll be meeting with the READY Commission later this week, and then with the Planning Commission next week. And then, as Matt mentioned, all your comments and feedback will go to the City Council tentatively in November. So with that, I think we'll conclude our presentation and be very interested in your questions or comments this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for all the work that you've put into this and working with our Blue Ribbon Committee and staff to get this developed. And thank you for your presentation tonight. We will go ahead and take any questions and comments from our commissioners. And we will start with Commissioner Krastevsky.
Thank you both for the time that you've put into this. It's amazing that in 15 minutes you've summarized years worth of work. And I know how much goes into these things, and it's just amazing that you guys are able to knit it all together and make it make sense in a way like you have. So good job on that. The one question I had is, and Matt, you'll know this, but about preserving open space. We don't have much of that left here in the city, right? And I know it was one of the, it was mentioned on one of the values here. And I was just wondering if there's a specific way that the city is planning to actually preserve open space before it's all gone.
That's a good question. So through our general plan and the zoning, we have a lot of property that's zoned open space. And then we also are blessed with at least 3 creeks. I think there's 4. There's Santa Gertrudis Creek, there's Murrieta Creek and Temecula Creek, and there's Pechanga Creek. And then all of those come together at the confluence and form the Santa Margarita River, which is the last free-flowing river in Southern California that goes out to Pendleton through the gorge. And with that, in the city limits, we have the Santa Margarita Ecological Reserve. We have open space out at Somers Bend. And what we're trying to do is preserve those open spaces, and then we want to connect them through our greenway planning and the trails and the integrated watershed and the stormwater management plan, and try to have a thriving urban city with these protected greenways and open spaces to make it a livable city and for high quality of life. So hopefully that helps answer your question, but that is the goal, is to try to preserve those remaining open spaces.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I know that the city has that in mind, and I appreciate that. The one thing that I would suggest maybe mentioning on my behalf when you take this up the chain is have the city consider acquiring adjacent land, whether it's county land or other land that's adjacent, and preserving it so that the public here has open space preserves to go to. You know, the city of Carlsbad, I believe in their master plan, they have set aside 30% of the city's land to be dedicated for open space, just so that residents have places to go. So I appreciate all that you've done, and on behalf of myself, that's what I would ask that is brought up, bubbled up to the top. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Krastofsky. Commissioner Hawks?
Thank you for your presentation. I have 3 questions and a comment. The first question is, so what are your sample size, how many you surveyed to get the data? And also regarding the core values, how are they represented? You have 7 core values. Are they based on, you rank from top to bottom based on the result you got? Are they equally represented? I like to see how they're represented. And the lastly is bike lanes. I appreciate the city trying to build a lot of bike lanes. We have 2 on the bike commission, the bike, what's it called? Bike advocacy, but practically for how is it going to work for a family? Say, I'm a mom with kids, how can I ride bike, take them to places? So maybe that's something you can consider. Another comments I have is I did look at the report I got earlier and you didn't present. One question I have regarding the report is you have some tables such as a result of a community survey table. When it came to the result, you have not satisfied / or low priority, or exceed and high priority. So it seems to me that's totally 2 different things, like not satisfied versus low priority. Maybe you can put 2 tables so make it more clear.
We'll have Doug answer that last question.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. There actually, in the True North survey, there are some questions that ask residents their level of satisfaction with different services or attributes of the community. And then there were other questions that asked them for how they would spend the city's money, so their spending priorities. So when we put those tables together, we were trying to, for similar topics, combine those 2 things together. So, you know, a citizen may have a low satisfaction, let's say with traffic, but that's a high spending priority because of it. And so it is trying to measure 2 different things, but since we were just trying to summarize in a small space this larger survey, that's why those 2 different kinds of responses are in there.
And just to add to that regarding the survey, your first question was the sample size. I don't know that offhand. I do know that the True North Community Survey is on the QLMP website, and that is summarized in the document. True North Research, they do this throughout the state, and their sampling involved phone calls and I think emails and some other things. And that was one of the things that was stressed, was that it was statistically valid. But those details regarding the sample size and those are in the report. I just don't know them offhand. I think we had 800 in our survey. Okay. Yeah, so in the QLMP survey, which was a supplement to the True North survey, we had over 800 responses, which was pretty good. So, the second question, with regard to the core values, they're all given equal weight. So there was one graphic where we showed the rings, and I think safe and prepared community was at the top. I think we were just going around the horn, and we were just showing that the circles overlap, and that's what creates quality of life. So there was no rank order or priority, or they weren't put in alphabetical order. It's just how they were developed. And I actually think when we did the update, we just kept the same order, and we added equity as the 7th core value. And then your other question with regard to the bike lanes, I mean, that's what we're trying to accomplish with the Trails and Bikeways Master Plan, is to create a bike lane and trail system that is friendly for the average consumer, for the family. We want to create low-stress routes. It's not easy. We have bike lanes on arterials. You have to be a pretty confident bicyclist to get around this town. And that's why we're focusing right now on the Class 1 trails, which are separate or off-street. We just opened the Santa Gertrudis Interconnect, which we're planning a loop around the city. That's a 17-mile loop, and that Santa Gertrudis Interconnect completed close to half of it. So you can start on the north side of town, actually east of Chaparral High School, and then you can follow that along the Santa Gertrudis Creek over to Diaz and follow that into Old Town. That's close to half the loop. And then there are other sections. So a lot of what we're doing is we're filling in the gaps. The Trails Master Plan was a gap analysis, and we're filling in those gaps. But we are trying to focus on the family and the recreation and the commuters, and just make it a bicycle-friendly town, which means low-stress routes, which is no simple task.
We did see a lot of families with young children at the Santa Gertrudis ribbon cutting, enjoying the trail, and that was great to see because,
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable riding on the streets very much, so it's great to see those options.
Yes. And this weekend, I went to use it, and the comments that I received, they didn't know I work for the city. I mean, there were people talking about their smiles, and we're so happy, and this is amazing, and it was pretty cool to see. Yeah, I think that addressed the three.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hawks. Vice Chair Audi?
Thanks, Chair Sizemore. I'd like to say thank you to Doug and Matt, and I know just a lot of hours into this, and it was a very, very smooth process, and I would commend you for how you handled the diverse groups that were represented in that process. When you have that many different areas of interest, you were able to narrow it down, and it just did a fantastic job of that. And then you mentioned it tonight, you even took the time when we realized we had missed that youth aspect, and took the time to get that quality survey, and staff helped out with that, and we got some great information on that, and a lot of the discussion centered around that. So that was very, very, it would stand out in my mind in just how you were able to be accepting to every group in that process. I was very happy with the group I was representing, which I felt like it's more than bicycles. It's active alternative transportation. And I think that you mentioning the Santa Gertrudis Trail, it's a great example of where we're headed and what we can do. And I know you get a lot of credit for that, Matt. That's just a very, very special project. I do want to highlight two things. Number one, the Climate Action Plan. Very happy that came of this QLMP, because this is another plan that we will get very, very, very special things from, aside from the general plan, to have that Climate Action Plan alongside of it. I just think it's a treasure trove of things that are going to make this a more quality community. And then I was very happy about the criteria that came from this plan to actually have a rubric or a criteria for what kind of an active transportation community are we? What level of bicycling community are we? So when Mayor Ron says Bike City, USA, well, what does that mean? And by using the League of American Bicycles level and choosing to strive for a gold level in our QLMP really gives us the opportunity to measure that and for the community to see it. I would say my question or my comment to add to the plan that was brought up in our discussion was when you talk about walkable, bikeable communities, you oftentimes have to think about the distance we are from our services, our schools, our business, our churches. And I think that the way communities were planned in the 90s was that it was a sprawled community and created these nice little quiet neighborhoods, but it moved us a distance from our services. They're very reachable by car when you're not driving in the times when schools are getting ready to start and ending, and when people are coming home from work. So I brought up in the discussion, and we talked about it, about, you know, what are the plans for these communities, such as the North Side project, where there is more housing, condensed housing, you know, multi-use buildings, walkable to these types of areas. You know, what is there in the general plan, in the QLMP, that starts focusing on a neighborhood like Somers Bend, which has amazing biking and walking infrastructure, complete streets, but yet there's such a distance from everything. They're right on the Temecula Loop, but in order to get to the store, they still have to go 5 miles. So for most people, it's not going to be a walk. Well, most people, it's not going to be take your bike. It's going to be get in the car and drive there. Get in the car, drive to school. Get in the car, drive to work. So when we do meet that plan of Temecula jobs being local, we've now taken cars off the freeway and put them onto our city streets. So I'm just looking at, you know, what does the plan say to assure us that we are going to be closer to those services and work and so on.
So I wish I had more assurances, but Temecula, since it's grown over since 1989, it's a community made up of these different specific plan areas, whether it's Red Hawk or Paseo del Sol or Santiago Estates, Meadowview, Somers Bend, Harveston. These have been pieced together over time. And it's a very auto-centric, suburban in design type of community. But since the plan was adopted in 2005, it's been updated a few different times. We now have the QLMP, which is setting the foundation for the update. And we've adopted the Uptown Temecula specific plan and the Old Town Temecula specific plan, and then Altair. And I guess to answer your question, the way to think about it is Temecula is going to have a lot of variety in terms of where you can live and the type of neighborhood you can be in. So it could be fairly rural, like Meadowview. It could be more tract neighborhood, like any of the specific plan areas. It could be a little more walkable, like Harveston. And then as you get on the west side of the freeway, you have our West Side Business Park, Uptown, which is 0 lot line, 8 stories. Old Town's quite dense. Altair's high in density. So there's just going to be a variety of, you know, living options, and then different neighborhoods and proximity to services. Some people want to be a little more separate from services, which means they'll have to drive. Others are going to want to be able to walk to Trader Joe's or whatever. So people will have those options, and I think That's all going to come together in the general plan, at least I hope it will. We'll kind of take inventory with what we have and then try to plan for the future. When I think about the general plan update, I don't know that it's going to be that big of a land use change. We're nearing build out. What we're going to need to do is take inventory of what are our land use categories, because we have a lot of single-family residential categories. And with a lot of the laws that have been passed in recent years, that's changed to where you can do an urban lot split, or you can add an ADU or a JADU, which is a junior accessory dwelling unit. There's another law that was just passed where you can now put residential as a permitted use in a commercial zone. So we're going to have to take inventory of that and what that's done to the land use demand and those changes and how that affects traffic and all of our utilities, sewer, water, and electric. So it's kind of a long explanation. I apologize. I get it, ask questions about planning and then go off the rails. But
I think it's a great explanation, and it is just that basically what you're saying is we need to be more strategic about where we go because of the land use and what we have available. Yeah, go ahead, and I have just a quick comment.
I will just mention, we did add a strategic objective in transportation to link accessible commercial services in neighborhoods to the transportation system, so that hopefully is language that, as the city goes through the general plan later, can draw on that as a
That's great that we have that in there.
Standard.
I think it will, as we get those local jobs. And I just want to say that the original QLMP, the first one, a lot of things got done a lot faster than what they expected on their timeline. So when we look at that 20-year timeline, I'm going to be glass half full. And I think a lot of those things are going to get done before 20 years, 10 years, whatever. So thanks for everything, guys. Super.
Thank you, Vice Chair Adi. And thank you two gentlemen for being here tonight and putting this together. We appreciate you taking our comments back to the City Council.
Very good, thank you. You know where to find me if you have additional comments. I'll be happy to put them in the staff report.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All righty, guys. Now we will go back up to the front half of our agenda, and we will go to our division reports. Tonight's division reports, we will have, leading our recreation portion will be Lisa Linton.
Hi, I'm Lisa Linton. All right, so Public Swim has ended for
Okay,
this.
sorry. She deserves a little more of an introduction than that. So Lisa staffs our front counter here at Community Services upstairs. So any of the calls that come in, she answers them. Questions that we get go to Lisa. She's our front line, essentially, for anything that comes our way. So she is I would not even say jack of all trades, she is a master of many trades. She handles all of our financial deposits every day, so all the deposits that come in from all of the offsites go through Lisa. Much in finance is very, very grateful for her as well, because before that, we got, 8 different deposits from the different facilities. So anyway, sorry, Lisa just deserves a little more of an introduction than that.
Is this your first time with us at the meeting, Lisa?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We appreciate having you here tonight.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so with this one, Public Swim has ended for the summer after serving more than 13,000 guests during the season. And Lap Swim will continue through fall with extended hours to accommodate the demand. Go ahead. Lifeguards worked on some off-season emergency action plans and continue the Druckers Leadership Program with CPRS later this month. And contract classes was very full this month with dance, yoga, cooking, toddler enrichment, and sports classes, seeing more than 1,500 participants and is already in full swing this October. The classes team is currently working on the winter-spring season and the activity guide, and we're tentatively scheduling to register or open registration for November 14th. The Fit Color Run was a great success. We had almost 900 participants and 150 spectators cheering on the event. The CRC was an evacuation center for the Fairview Fire, servicing 130 people. At the CRC, staff was available with the Red Cross staff for 24 hours a day throughout the evacuation time. And right now, the CRC is closed and will reopen in May of 2023 for renovation, and then the pool will remain open. Temecula Skate Park continues to partner with Neighborhood Drop-In for Scooter Jam. The September one was canceled due to the rain, but they are expected to have another one return in November. Our teen zone had 367 in attendance, playing games, cooking, and baking, along with some fun fall and Halloween crafts. The seasonal theme boxes are still available for $10, filled with activities to be completed at home. Homeless Outreach exited 12 more from the streets last month, bringing their all-time high, or their year-to-date 68 for this year. 8 encampments were cleared. Homeless Outreach staff attended the Harveston HOA meeting, presented at Rotary, and hosted the monthly collaborative meeting at the Help Center. Ronald H. Roberts was busy with more than 19,000 visitors in September. Story time, music to our ears contest, and the Teen Snap Circuit Lab were enjoyed, along with displays featuring Hispanic Heritage, National Library Card, National Service Dog Month, and the Banned Book Week.
If we can go back to that slide real quick, thanks. I just wanted to point out that's Rosie Vanderhoek over in the rightmost picture, and that is her service dog Via that she's raising. She's a puppy raiser for Canine Companions. And so she has Via until, I want to say she's about 18 months old, and she's taking her to extensive trainings, basically giving her all the socialization and initial training she will need to eventually be able to graduate into service dog training. So, and Rosie's doing that as a volunteer, just completely with her own time and her own money. So we're really, really happy to have her doing that. Sorry about that. Go right ahead.
Right. Sports has all recognized sports leagues, adult softball, adult kickball are in midseason. Basketball wrapped up on October 4th, and then baseball and softball continue to have tournaments throughout October. Special events hosted the Art and Street Painting Festival, the Open Streets, and ribbon cutting for the Santa Gratuitous Creek Trail. We look forward to the Ronald Reagan Sports Park concession stand opening, the Halloween Carnival and bike tour this month, and November will kick off with a patriotic salute to veterans. Our theater had the TEDx conferences last month, and then the Temecula Valley Players Club kicked off their season with West Side Story. Temecula Presents closed out with A Ticket to Ride, a tribute to the Beatles, and The Long Run, and Tailor-Made Tapestry. The Merc held 15 shows this last month, and they all feature different music, jazz, country, speakeasy, and welcome some new music as well. Country Live at the Merc was sold out this last month, and stand-up comedy welcomes Stephen Briggs. The city is proud to partner with the Temecula Valley High School Girls Soccer, who volunteered their time and tedious task of restoring 100 paver engravings at our Veterans Memorial Path of Honor at the Temecula Duck Pond. Over 50 volunteers helped with great respect and patience. And this concludes the first section of our report. We're available to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Lisa. We appreciate that very thorough report. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll now go ahead and take questions and suggestions, comments from our commissioners, and we will start with Commissioner Hawks.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for the report and welcome. And I'm just really pleased to see the variety of services and programs we're offering to our community, even though it's not summer and school started, but still I can see library is busy, the CRC is busy, and we also have services to all ages, from children to adult to all kinds of interests, music, art. So I really appreciate the master plan. We're really fortunate and grateful to live in this great city. No question.
Thank you, Commissioner Hawks. Commissioner Krastowski?
Thank you, Lisa. You're a natural. Great report. I had no idea that there was adult kickball. I can only imagine how crazy that can get. I think the last time I played that was second grade, but that's awesome. No questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Krastowski. Vice Chair Audi?
Lisa, awesome job for your first time. It was fantastic. When you see all that stuff, like Commissioner Hawk said, just a variety, but every time we see all of this in one report, it's just absolutely amazing what this department does for our city. And I just kind of think about raising my daughters here and what my granddaughter and my grandson have to look forward to. It's just very, very special for families. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. I had one question on the scooter jam. Are we sticking to just scooter? Are we still doing, are we alternating skate, BMX, scooter?
We alternate.
Okay, all right. And I just wanted to comment on, I had the pleasure with my son and my husband to see A Ticket to Ride with the Beatle tribute band. That was fantastic. Just amazing talent, and right here in Temecula, in our theater. So just a fantastic venue, fantastic productions we have there. It's been a great place to raise my family, so thank you. All righty, now let's move on to the next division report. We will have our cultural arts program from Bea Barnett.
Thank
Bea?
you. Good evening. It's my pleasure to report to you on arts, culture, entertainment, and all the fun things that are happening throughout the month. In September, the Temecula Valley Museum's ACE team hosted Art Off the Walls at the First Friday Gallery reception. 8 artists participated in the Art Off the Walls. The Merc opened up the Dorland Associate Arts exhibit that they come annually. And we also had booths at the lot on Main. The Dorland Mountain Arts Colony artists have been featured before. They bring a variety of work, and you can see that they had lovely attendance. We had 185 attendees, and Council Member James Stu Stewart and our chair, Kathy Sizemore, also attended the event, so thank you for that. With all of our events, you can see a full stream of the photos by Shauna Sarnowski's photography on our Flickr. In the art gallery showcases, Kathy Stradley is featured in the Rotunda Gallery at the Temecula Valley Museum. The Ronald H. Roberts is showcasing Lee Ann Sutherland's artwork, who is multi-talented. She's like a triple threat because she's also a pianist, an accompanist, and a singer. So she does it all. The Civic Center Gallery has longtime instructor and cool cat himself, Don Roth. And then the gallery at the Merc is showcasing Dorland. Thank you. Next is our Tcsd Community Outreach Team. They are killing it with their reels, and they had their largest increase to date on followers on social media. Jeff has been hard at work securing sponsorship donations for the Fit Fun Color Run. The funds that the community groups have donated really made the event special by being able to provide additional fun obstacle course amenities. So that is where our community is stepping up and really offering funds that are vital in serving our community. He's also managing the military banner program as well as the Path to Honor, and both of those have significantly increased the new purchases, and actually the military banners are free. The pavers are for a fee. And they are also, the team is presenting at outreach booths at many events. They were just at an event this weekend and previous weekend, so you can catch them at many different locations. We also presented to the Temecula Valley Unified School District, and I wrote down what the DLAC stands for. It's the
District English Learner Advisory Committee. So Jeff presented to 40 families. It meets to improve student achievement for English learners. And then they're constantly filming for the CRC renovations, Park Adventures, and the Utility Box Art Project, which actually started installing today. So 10 of those have been completed, and the other 14 will be done tomorrow. They're absolutely vibrant, incredible. You have to experience them in person, and the grand opening for that is scheduled for October 26th at noon. So you're all invited, and a press release will be going out tomorrow for that. Next slide. In Inclusive Services, it was a big month at Mary Phillips Senior Center. They celebrated their 23rd anniversary with a luau. And we've had high hopes there for 23 years, and the Mary Phillips Senior Center just also celebrated its 29th anniversary this month. So we had 83 participants, and they were doing the hula and having a great time with pineapple teriyaki chicken bowls. Cece's an amazing cook, and she takes care of everyone at the Senior Center. We're very proud of our staff that's a culinary expert. Next. The Youth Advisory Council meets, and they began again for a new year. They have job readiness and leadership skills, resume workshop, team building exercises. They are volunteering their time. They put together their team to service the 12th Annual Health and Community Resources Fair. They worked on a very hot day, and they really provided a lot of extra effort that we need when we put on big events like that. They meet every Wednesday from 5 to 6 at the Mary Phillips Senior Center. The Viticulture Fall Session began September 13th. They have 8 participants with some new faces. They also take place on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 11. And they take excursions. One of them was at the Temecula Valley Museum, which is just right across the street, in addition to Wilson Creek and Rose Haven. Next. If you didn't get a chance to come to the annual health fair, you can also see the photo stream. It was an amazing time with entertainment, and the open streets was happening at the same time, so we had a big group of bikers come through. It's just a great family-friendly event that is focusing on everyone's health, accessibility, transportation. So by combining the two events, we were able to have 2 things on one day, and we had excellent attendance at both. 500 participants estimated. So Erica and I got to go to the 29th anniversary of Mary Phillips Senior Center. It's been amazing to see some of the patrons have been there since opening day. Other ones that we have longtime affinity for, the Kill Feathers, are there. I see, her name's escaping me. Another couple here in the choir that she has volunteered at, Pam McDonald and her husband have volunteered at the theater. They've worked at the theater. Sometimes they have health concerns, but they still show up anyway. So it's just amazing to see these people who are dedicated to participating and enjoying and just brightening up. I know that every time I come to the Senior Center, I leave on a cloud of happiness. Just my heart is overflowing. So that was a 50s theme, so we're all dressed up. But it's just elation when you go there. The choir sings every Thursday, and I get a chance to jump in there and join. And even if I don't know the song, I'll hum along. But you just got to hear them sing their hearts out. So every Thursday at 10 is when they practice, and then at 10:30 is when they perform at the event. The next one is coming up this Thursday at 10:30. It would be the Halloween event. The Senior Center also remains as a cool center. during the winter months. At the Temecula Valley Museum, I mentioned last time that Ancestry and Animals should not be missed. It's through December 4th. A local gentleman that lives here, Hajime Ono, he does live here, and his detail is exquisite. You can see just 2 examples there. And then what we were formerly calling the Student Art Project Mural Program, we're now rebranding to the Emerging Artist Mural Project. Sometimes during the summer, it's a little difficult to get students per se, so we're just expanding it to the up-and-coming artists as well. But this most recent one is the Autumnal Equinox Fall Colors, and the students of Clarissa Creative Foundation were present, and they had a lovely time showcasing with their parents. We love when there's a school or a group because it brings out the parents and we have better attendance. So thanks to the council member, Mayor Pro Tem, and commissioners that were in attendance, as well as council member Marianne Edwards. Second Saturday is a big hit. It's been running since 2019. This month we celebrated Ecuador. The Global Citizens Viticulture and Horticulture visited us at the museum, and the Art and Street Painting Festival was also part of programming this month that we assisted with. And then the Women's Club of Temecula also decorates the rotunda, so come and see the creepy and elegant artifacts on display. Next. So upcoming, I mentioned the Wednesday, October 26th at 12. You're invited to the ribbon cutting. We're going to meet at Sam Hicks Monument Park, and hopefully we can take a stroll after we cut the ribbon and find our way through the utility boxes throughout Old Town. The gallery at the Merck reception on November 4th will be announcing the annual Ralph Love Plein Air competition winners. And then the next mural unveil is for Native American Heritage Month, and it is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, November 9th at 5 p.m. And then second Saturday in November, we'll be celebrating Alaska. Oh, by the way, we did add Macedonia, so it's coming. Thank you. Finally, with workforce development, Youth Innovators are back at it this year. They are planning the events. I just got the invitation for the Young Women's Career Conference that's coming up on December 7th. Rocktober is happening on the 22nd. And then several other events that they are collaboratively working on. And again, this is our future, our youth, the ones that are going to be taking over when we retire. So they're doing a great job stepping up and getting work experience. And the Junior STEM program meets regularly Wednesdays. They are facilitated by the Youth Innovators, and they're learning geology concepts. And finally, the annual College and Vocational Fair was held virtually on Saturday, September 24th. 25 students in each session. This was done online. And then we had representatives from 40 colleges and universities. They presented information on their organizations, including admissions, degrees, and programs of study, plus the rich community offered on their campuses. This concludes our full report, and we are available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Bea, for your very thorough report. I appreciate that tonight. We'll go ahead and take comments and questions from our commissioners. We will start with Commissioner Krastevsky.
Thank you, Bea. Pleasure as usual. Thank you for adding Macedonia to the list. I had a question about the College and Vocational Fair. Was that only for Temeculans, or was that in conjunction or collaboration with other cities as well?
We host it. Anyone is welcome to attend. Everyone does come, usually at the mall, the Promenade, where it has been hosted for over a decade. Unfortunately, the last 3 years, it has been virtual, but we plan to get back in person next year.
Great,
So
that's,
we host it, we put it on, but everyone's welcome to
that's
attend.
fantastic, thank you.
Just as a side note, the mall has reported that that is their second highest gross receipts day, second only to Black Friday. So when we do host it at the mall, it's huge influx of retail business for the mall.
Wow. Thank you, Erica. Thank you for your question, Chris. Commissioner Hawks?
Thank you, Bear. Just a quick question. When you talk about that viticulture fall session class, you said there were 8 students. So is that advertised somewhere, or how do
Yes,
people
that's
find
in
out?
the Guide to Leisure Activities as well as its, word of mouth.
Okay,
It is a program for special needs, so
okay.
the ratio of attendees to teachers, we want to keep it nice and intimate. Sometimes we have more, but at this point, we only had 8.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hawks. Vice Chair Audi?
Thanks, Chair. Thank you, Bay. What a great report. I'm more positive on the numbers. I mean, I just keep seeing those numbers jump out on all of these enrichment programs, all these people we're touching and enriching their lives. 83 at the High Hopes for hula. I mean, that's spectacular. That was just fantastic. And I'm shocked because I didn't know the boxes were going to get painted. And that's happening, and it's got to go citywide. It's got to
Yes.
be a city thing.
Yes,
So I'm
this
very
is a
excited
pilot
about
test.
that.
They're actually vinyl wrapped, so the paintings were done originally.
Okay.
We selected, and there was a nice committee that selected. We didn't, staff didn't, it was all commissioners, council, community, artists involved. And they put in a lot of time because there were 67 entries and a lot of art to look at. And what's nice is on some of the installations, it may be like the Rosehaven Garden view of one artist is on one side and a different artist perspective is on the other, but the way it was curated, all the color palettes, they just are beautiful, and some are wrapped all the way around. And there's another one that's 2 cowboys in paint, and then 1 photograph of Malcolm Barnett, who is an original,
Yeah,
Temecula.
that's-
No relation, but I adopted him
No.
and his wife, Loretta, but he's passed on, but he was one of the original grandchildren from Isabel Barnett.
I mean, the fact that you're taking utility boxes and giving them so much heart, it just means so much. And we've talked about this too, that, having trails connect to our arts and culture, this is a first step. I mean,
Yes.
if we could get this done in other areas,
Definitely.
I need more tours.
Right, the
I'm done with the
17-mile
parks,
loop.
so I need to do
The
more tours.
17-mile loop will be filled with public art. That's our goal, so,
Nice.
thank you.
It's scary, if you look at Councilmember Zach Schwenk's social media, he posted a photo of the box, I believe it's outside of Coin Op, and it's these bright, colorful ducks. And it's amazing, because I was part of that selection committee, and it's to see it on the box compared to, that flat picture that we saw, and now the box, to see it a lot. It's neat. I can't wait to see them all installed. It's going to be fun. We'll have to do a bike tour. We'll have to bring our bikes that day. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Vice Chair Audi. Appreciate that. Thank you, Bea, for your report. I only just had comments. I did enjoy the Dorland exhibit for First Friday. I came specifically to see artist Sasha Hope. She was there that night, and so it was a treasure to get to see some of her pieces of artwork and to get to visit with her. And I just wanted to, that was my comment, was gonna be about the utility boxes. It's so great to,
Sasha's artwork is on one of the utility boxes
Yes.
behind Starbucks.
behind Starbucks. Oh, okay, that's not bad. All right, when we have this grand opening on the 26th, are we inviting the artists?
Yes, the artists, the public, the city council, everyone, commissions are invited. And we're hopeful that whichever artists have time and opportunity to present, that they can speak at each of their boxes along the trail. We're hoping to ribbon cut and then perhaps walk along, and each artist can tell us their inspiration. But you can read about it on the story map that is online. Every box, there's a map that Erin put together. Thanks, Erin Matthews back there, for all of your due diligence. And you can see a map, and it'll tell you a little bit about each artist, and it'll show you. Thank you very much for showcasing. This is another one of his amazing GIS feats, where we just tell him, here's the PDF and the information, and he presents us with this amazing interactive.
So where do we find this at?
This is accessible through the Utility Box Art webpage, so it's temeculaca.gov/utilityboxart, and you'll be able to
Utility
link to this
box
story
art.
map.
Okay. All right, yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, because I'd like to be able to know where they're at and start visiting them. Are we going to do little ribbon cuttings at each one?
No, just one ribbon cutting starting at Sam Hicks,
Oh,
and then we'll walk along the way. But what's nice is it's not just on the front street, it's on the creek side. So when you see one at Mad Madeline's and then you see the one at Chaparral, which is Sasha's, you're drawn to the next one, and then you want to find the next one. So it's a little hunt.
I can't wait for
And there's
this.
your treasure map.
That's so great. Thank you so much, Bea.
Erin did a similar interactive map for our public art map, the one that you each have a scarf or a tie of. I don't know, Erin, if you can pop that one up quickly, but while we're on the, he's being put on the spot back there, but it's just really cool to see the way we can use technology to help people navigate, between something they're seeing online and then really making it sort of come alive and planting
Now, are
that seed
these
for them.
accessible through the app by any chance?
I don't think they're on the app, but that's a good question.
Yeah, the app is mostly administrative and, informational. We haven't quite thrown all the artistic stuff on there yet, but
So on the app, we're limited to the number of items we can have on the homepage of the app. So it's pretty locked down in terms of which items we have there. And then generally, it's for things where the public is able to click and report for the most part. But, we're always looking for ways to improve
I
and
don't know, might
expand.
I make
There
a
we go.
suggestion of a Temecula Arts and Culture app?
So there's the interactive map, and he's kind of scrolling through the same thing. It sort of shows you the locations, a little bit of history. You can click on each one, find out a little more about it. So yeah, anyway, thank you, Erin. It's really helped
you.
enrich, the efforts we've had in public art.
Well, I would just maybe, like I said, maybe an app for that. Maybe you could have these two maps. Maybe that could be where you see what productions are going on at the theater, book your reservations from the app.
a lot of the things that you're mentioning are up to date on the website, so an app would be also redundant, but if we had the time and the staff and the, effort, we would definitely supplement.
I think you guys are worth an app.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bea. All righty. That gets us down to our consent calendar. We have on our consent calendar to approve the action minutes from our meeting on September 12, 2022. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. So we have a motion from Vice Chair Audi and a second by Commissioner Kristofsky. Can we get a roll call vote?
Commissioner Hawks? Aye. Commissioner Kristofsky?
Aye.
Vice Chair Audi?
Aye.
Chairperson Sizemore?
Aye.
All right, the motion is approved 4-0 with Commissioner Levine absent. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Tracy. And now for our director report.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I just wanted to thank you all for your support, for all of the events that you attend, all of the activities you participate in. It really means a ton to our staff with all the work they do to make these things happen, to see you guys come out with your families and enjoy them and participate. And it also makes you stronger advocates for what we do and ambassadors for what we do and able to take that out into the community and spread the word. So we truly appreciate that. You know, the other thing I just wanted to say thanks to staff, because staff has been, I mean, we're coming end of summer into fall season. Next thing you know, it's going to be the holidays. Things get even crazier around the holidays. There's no slow time for us, really. There's like a couple little dips here and there. But staff has just been doing such a phenomenal job keeping everything together, always innovating, always improving, always seeking ways to serve the community more. And along those lines, you know, our community recreation center was turned into an emergency evacuation shelter during the Fairview fire. We served, as you saw, 130 individuals, people who had to, you know, like rush from their homes, try to find a shelter. They came to us. The amphitheater at the CRC was used for small animals, so that was really a relief for people who had pets. And we had 33, I think, staff members who dropped everything, showed up, worked around the clock. I mean, literally kept that shelter open 24 hours a day. That means people are working, you know, they're pulling night shifts, sometimes with not a lot of advance notice. And of those 33, I think all but 8 were project staff. So 8 of those staff were some of our full-time staff. You know, Gwen and her staff were really invaluable. Gwen, James, Melissa, Kristen Post, Jessica Walker. But also project staff. You know, we say project staff are the front line. I said, you know, Lisa is the front line for our department here at City Hall. And that's true at every single one of our events, every one of our facilities. The people that the public are most likely to interact with first are generally our, air quotes, project staff. And so they don't get necessarily always the respect and attention they deserve for their efforts. But particularly to see a group of young people drop everything and go out and work at a shelter around the clock to make sure that people who had to leave their homes, sometimes with very little notice, no idea of what they were going to come back to, and to know that our staff were there to at least make sure they had somewhere safe, warm, dry, food, place for their pets, bathrooms, hygiene, you know, just to take care of those basic needs. It really, it's humbling for me to be a part of this department and to see that kind of teamwork. And I had nothing to do with it because I wasn't even in the state. I was back in Ohio, wringing my hands, trying to keep up with everything via text. I had nothing to do with any of that. Everybody mobilized on their own and did a phenomenal job. So I just wanted to say an extra thanks to them for that.
Thank you, Erica. That says a lot that your staff was able to orchestrate and handle itself without your presence here.
Absolutely, they do it every day.
Thank you very much, Erica. Now on to our commissioner reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Audi. You've been going last all night, so you can go first.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'll kind of echo what Erica said about staff. I think sometimes, though, they see me coming and they walk the other way, but they've been so helpful to me in a lot of my endeavors with the city, and it's always an honor. I mean, it was an honor the other day to get to speak at the Santa Gertrudis opening, and it was just so well organized and well attended by our community. The Open Streets event, moving in that direction with giving people a feel for what it's like to have car-free streets, you know, it's a start. And I think, you know, those types of events like the college fair at the mall, how that increases business. I think we're starting to see too, when we do these events, we give a boost to our local businesses. So just an honor to work with staff. Staff is amazing. I think we're just saying a lot of positive things about community services tonight, but you just do so much for our city, and really has been an honor for me to be a part of this with you folks. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Chair Audi. Vice Chair Kristofsky, or Commissioner Kristofsky.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. I don't have much to say other than it's been nice getting out to a couple different events this last month. The street painting was really cool to see again and to be part of the judging for that. And there was a great winner on that one. There was a tough call with a couple of the finalists there, but yeah, it was really good artwork. Also at the Santa Gertrudis ribbon cutting, there was a great turnout. That was really cool to see so many people out there. The event was well organized. I'm always amazed by those giant scissors you guys bring. But yeah, it was just a really cool event and a wonderful project and addition for the city. So it's an honor to be part of this team as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Kristofsky. Commissioner Hawks?
I concur with my fellow commissioners and the Director Russa that I really appreciate the dedication of the staff of the city. I've witnessed when they work in the rain and pouring down rain, and they work, they told me they got there at 5 o'clock for the July 4th fireworks. So it's really, we appreciate it. And also I hear from the community members, they appreciate all the programs the city put together. And a couple of report, is this for our director report, commissioner report, or not yet?
Commissioner report.
Okay. So for the commissioner report also, for the STEM class, my children told me they really enjoyed it and they saw other kids in the class really liked it. And I look forward to seeing it in the magazine or the program, because I did talk to some parents. She said she just somehow stumbled onto it online, so she didn't know. She was asking where she can find it so she can sign up for the future events. So it's great that we can put it out in the magazine. And this Saturday, I had the pleasure to volunteer at the museum to serve food for the culture event. So I was really happy to see the turnout. Also, like you said, we had other events going on, the bazaar and the Greek festival. So it seems like we bring extra traffic and the flow, and people really appreciate that kind of events. So a couple of comments, or maybe just to help even make it better, is people were asking about where the food came from. So if we can have the business card from the restaurant or the vendors, that also will help boost their business, and for the people can visit later. Another comment is somehow they wanted to taste the food when we have the country. So like this weekend it was Egypt. They were looking for Egyptian food. So I know it's not easy to get all the food. We don't have all the restaurant, but if possible, we can have the food, maybe just a little sample, match the cultures, and it'll even boost more interest. So overall, it's really great to be in the community and appreciate our community. Thank you.
Can I just piggyback on that? I heard that Commissioner Krzyzewski will cook for the Macedonia Day.
We'll see about that, but there's a chance. There's a chance. I'll try to be there.
That'd be awesome. Maybe Mrs. Kristofsky would like to do that. All right. Thank you very much, Commissioner Hawks. Appreciate your report and comments. And, you know, I appreciate the staff. I always enjoy seeing them and getting to visit with them, and they just totally make the experience in our city, just seeing the dedication and the love that all of our staff has for our city and its residents. So with that, that gets us to the end of our meeting.
I just want to mention that Macedonia will be April of 2023, so start
So
cooking.
you have time to plan your
Perfect.
menu. All right. We'll look forward to seeing you there on April 2023, Chris. All righty. And I will not be in attendance at next month's meeting. Vice Chair Adi will be leading it. I will be on a plane to Florida. So I don't fly, so so it'll be an experience.
I recommend, your doctor can prescribe something for that. Take the edge right off.
Yeah, going to see the Atlantic Ocean was a bucket list item for me because I don't fly, and so, yeah. So I will not be here next month. And
Well, we will
Commissioner
miss you and have a wonderful trip.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Commissioner Adi will be here leading the meeting in my absence and representing our commission to City Council the following night. All righty, we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting then until Monday, November 14th, 2022 at 6 p.m.